Hi, I'm Donna. Nice active class for the side body wake up today. Why is that important? Breathing. Just so good for the mobility for your ribs, your spine, and your general well-being. So congratulate yourself for taking time on your mat. And we'll get started. Just a couple of blocks today, and if you've got some wall, that could be really useful. It doesn't have to be really wide, but just a little bit of wall would be a help. And we'll lay down to begin. Give your body to the support of the floor. Just tuning in to where there might be tension or discomfort in your body. And being particularly compassionate towards those parts of your body. Seeing if you can let go of the tension, if just relaxing into your position lets go of some of that discomfort. Find your breathing. See how that feels. Easeful. Maybe there's some texture or grain to the breath in this moment. Does the breath reach into your belly? Let's try focusing the breath to that part of your body. Feel that your legs are parallel and your feet hip width. Arms out wide enough for your armpits to be relaxed. And taking notice of just how you feel in this moment. And then squeeze your right leg into your chest. Good, and you're going to let it out to straight and lower it down onto the floor. If that feels a little strong to start off with, just bend it, put it on the floor. And then come back into legs bent, so your neutral position, and keep going alternate sides. So we're going to do left leg in, just squeeze in. Good, straighten your leg and lower down. Good, so keep going and you'll quickly figure out how much straightening you need, how much squeezing. Good, and you can keep going one side at a time, opposite sides each time, or you can try with both legs together. So if that hurts your back or it's too strong in your neck or your throat, just keep going with one side at a time, squeezing. Good. We're going to add in a little detail of when you squeeze your knees in, see if you can lift your nose up to touch your knees. Good, and then laying back down, straighten your leg or legs and lowering down. So when you squeeze your leg or legs in, lift your upper back off the floor, squeeze your nose. Good, lay back down, straighten your leg or legs and lowering down. Good, we'll just do a couple more. Squeeze your belly. Last one. Good, and then coming back into your neutral position. Just closing your eyes. Notice where your body feels warm Good, and then bring your legs in and cross your feet at your ankles and roll up, hands at the front of the mat, and step back into all fours position. Good, so just give your fingers a nice stretch, your thumbs a stretch. Good, we're going to tuck the toes under and lean your bottom back towards your heels as far as your knees will let you go. Good, and then coming up and reach your shoulders as far forward as your wrists will allow, or your wrists need for that stretch. We're going to arch the breastbone forward, look up. Good, and as you exhale, press your tailbone back to your heels. Good, your knees are about hip width distance apart here. So coming forward, torso forward, shoulders as far forward over the wrists as the wrists need. You can start to bring the hips forward, look up. Good, as you exhale, squeezing the pelvis back onto the heels. Good. Bring the chest through the arms, look up, bring the hips forward. Good, one more. Good, and then walk your hands back, and if you can bring your body weight onto your heels with your toes tucked under like that, you can sit up tall. Good, otherwise keep your hands onto the floor. Good, just taking a couple of breaths. Good, and then we're going to turn the fingers back. Good, and you can walk your hands as far forward as your wrists need to stretch. Good, you can even stretch the fingers by, you don't have to bring the whole palm of the hand onto the floor, but walk your hands even further forward. Good, and then place your wrists underneath your shoulders, fingers facing out, and we're just going to lean across to one side, lean your ribs all the way to that side, lean across to the other side, lean your ribs all the way across to that side. Good, keep going. One more each side. Might be feeling that rock across the toes. Good, and coming back to center, you're going to flatten your feet. Take your knees out a little bit wider and reach your arms forward. So if forward virasana is an uncomfortable position for your knees, you can put your hips directly above your knees and walk your hands forward. Otherwise, tailbone reaches down towards the heels, so the lower back can lengthen, broaden, soften. Good. And then lifting up, so you're in all fours again, and we're going to stretch the fingers, press the finger prints, base of the index fingers. Good, and walk your knees back. So your shoulders are over your wrists, but your knees are behind the line of the hips. And we're just going to rock across the knees, taking your hips, your ribs to one side and then the other side. Go as low towards the floor as your back allows as you start to warm up. Good. Now if you want to go a little stronger, tuck your toes under, take them to the corners of the mat and do the same thing from plank position. Just rolling across your feet and hovering the hips down nice and low. So if it feels too strong, put your knees back onto the floor. Last one. Good, and we're going to tuck the toes under, come up into Ardha Chandrasana. Press the heels, lift the kneecaps, lift the sit bones, so you're lifting your hips up high, and let the chest start to move towards the front of the legs. Good. We're going to lift the heels up high, take them across to the right side of your mat, and lift your left hand off the floor and reach up and look up. Good. And then as you exhale, back into Ardha Chandrasana, or a downward facing dog pose. Lift your heels up nice and high, roll them to the left of the mat, lift your right hand off the mat and reach up nice and high. Lift the heart. Good. Downward facing dog pose. Lift your heels up high, roll them over to the right of the mat, lift the left hand, open the front of the chest. Good. Back to center. Lift the heels up high, roll them across to the left of the mat, lift the right arm off the mat, open the chest. Good. One more each side. Back up to center, lift your heels high, heels to the left, lift your right arm. Good. And then downward facing dog pose. So your feet are about hip width distance apart. Lift your kneecaps, your quadriceps, your sit bones. Nod your head. Relax your neck. Good, and then bring your shoulders forward over your wrists. So you're in either a plank position with your knees off the floor, or you can bring your knees onto the floor if you need to. Good, and in plank position, we're going to lift up between the shoulder blades, press the hands into the floor as though you were pressing the floor away from you. Lifting the front core, supporting the back core, lengthening the spine. Knees to the floor. And you're going to rest into child's pose, your version of, so you can have your hips high if you need to for your knees. Either hands loosely stacked under your forehead or resting beside you. Good, and then reach your arms all the way out in front. And you're going to walk your hands to the left, but keep your right sitting bone either anchored to the heel or where it is in space. So hands walk to the left, reach your right arm as far as you can. Right kidney area lengthening, right waist. Good, and then back to center. And walking your hands around to the right. So now we're reaching with the left arm. Letting yourself elongate where you need to, relax where you need to, let go. Good. And then back to center. Good. Come up onto all fours. Good. You're going to take your right arm and thread it under the left arm. And we're going to start to reach the right shoulder down towards the floor. It might not reach all the way. So bend your left arm so that it's comfortably supporting the shape of your spine. You might be able to get your shoulder down onto the floor. You can just rest your head, rest your left arm. Let the rib cage part of your spine give in to the tone. Make sure your neck is comfortable. Good. If you want a little more here, you're comfortable where you're balanced onto your shoulder, onto your head, you can lift your left arm and reach up. Good, and then release that side. Come back up onto all fours. Left arm threads underneath the right arm. And we start to bring the left shoulder towards the floor. So you might not reach all the way. Use your right arm to find a comfortable length for your spine, for your neck. You might be able to get your shoulder down onto the floor. And we're looking for ease here, either side of the neck. Try and keep both lower legs parallel. Good. Letting the rib cage part of your spine relax into the shape of the posture. Letting go. Good. If you want to try that slightly stronger movement and it's comfortable enough for your neck, then you're going to reach your right arm up, opening across the heart, the collarbones. Good, and then releasing and coming back to all fours. Good. Little cat stretch now. And either modified plank, where you walk your hands forward so your knees are behind the line of the hips, or tuck the toes under, knees off the floor, plank position. Good, tuck the tailbone forward. So the lower back lengthens, but stay soft across the sacrum. Back of the neck long, throat long. Breathe deeply. Good. And then downward facing dog pose. Lift the hips high. Bring the feet so they're hip width distance apart. Lift the kneecaps, the quadriceps, the sit bones. Open the chest, the collarbones, the space around the heart. Good. And then start to walk forward. So bend your knees. We're going to walk all the way to the front of the mat. Come up when you run out of room. Arms up. Look up. Tadasana. It's taking a moment to arrive, to feel your feet firmly on the floor, to lift the front of the knees, to lengthen the front of the quadriceps, lift the front of the hips. Feel the length of your lower back. You lift your breastbone, relax your shoulders, relax where your head sits on your spine. Good. You're going to take the arms up and look up. And as you exhale, Uttanasana. And if you have blocks, you can use them to put your hands on, or you can hold onto your knees or onto the floor. Good. And just pedal one leg and then the other leg. So bend in one knee and straighten the other leg. Good. Then bend both of your legs and see if you can lift your breastbone a little more and ease your lower back a little bit longer into a valley shape. Try and keep your belly and your chest close to the front of the legs, or as close as you can without hurting your back. And then just see what it feels like to straighten your legs. We're trying to keep the back making a valley shape or a flat shape, but not a rainbow shape where it squashes your belly. So look for that spacious feeling in your belly. Good. And then we're going to walk the hands around to the left side. Try not to just swing the right hip forward, so keep it back. Walking the hands to the left, reach with your right arm. Good. You're going to hold the outside of your left foot or behind your left heel. Keep lifting your kneecaps here. Good. And we're going to lift the left arm up to the ceiling. Turn the ribs. See if you can go straight up. Look up. Strong legs. Good. And then release. And come back to center. Good. Just bend your legs or pedal them again. Shake them out. Ease your lower back forward again. Good. Walk your hands around to the right side. We're going to straighten the legs if you can, just as far as you can. Lift your kneecaps, your quadriceps. Really reach with your left arm. Neck is relaxed. Strong, straight legs. Good. And then take your left hand and hold the outside of your right leg or the back of your right heel. Good. And see how you go. You can either take your right hand onto your sacrum, or you might be able to keep turning your ribs and looking up towards your hand. Reach your hand up to the ceiling. Good, and then release. And come back to center, shaking out your legs, relaxing your spine, relaxing your neck. Good, and then bend your knees and inhale and roll all the way up, arms up, look up. Good, and as you exhale, Tadasana. Great. Now, this is where you can just stay on your mat, but if you'd like to take it towards a wall, that will be really useful. Going to grab another mat because I have lots of them. All right. It doesn't really need to be a wide piece of wall. I'm going to have the blocks handy. I'm going to put one either side of my mat. And it doesn't matter if you don't have them. If you're a little wobbly on your feet, the wall's going to help you with stability, or you could have a chair either side of your mat. So you can pause, decide what you might want to use. We're doing some standing poses. All right. So if you've only got a column, you don't have a wide wall, just stand against that, or even a pole can help with this alignment of your spine. If your heels touch the skirting board, so they're not out like this, just notice if you feel really off balance. And if you make a couple of adjustments in your posture, see if it helps you feel more balanced. A lot of us have a tendency to compress the back and the belly spills forward because we're not using our legs powerfully enough. So lift the front of the thighs, lift the front of the hips. And feel how you can now lift the belly, it sits back into the bowl of the pelvis, lift the breastbone. Good, and does that feel a little more balanced against your wall guide? Good, and if you still feel off balance, just walk your heels out the minimum distance you need. Good. We also want to find, does the head sit easefully back to the wall? If it feels like you're squashing the back of your neck to reach, don't do that. Just find a really nice feeling at the base of your skull. But just see if you can lift your breastbone a little more. And find the breath in your belly. Good, Tadasana, using the wall. Make yourself a little taller, take up space. Great. Bring your hands in front of your heart and step your feet apart about your own leg length. Good. Turn your right toes out about 90 degrees and your left toes in. And we're going to try and keep the heel against the wall. But if you look down at your right foot, there's a little gap because we're lining the heel with the center of the inner arch. Good. All right. You might see my hips have swung off the wall. I'm just going to listen to my knees, my hips, see if I can bring both sides of the sacrum back towards the wall. And if it doesn't go all that way because suddenly that's painful somewhere in your body, just notice where that is. Good, so work where you need to work. But lift your kneecaps, feel nice and strong in your legs. Lift the front of the hips again. Good, lift the pelvic floor, lift the spine. Bring the hands in front of the heart. Reach out from your shoulders. Take up space. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to start to reach the right fingertips out and over the right leg. And just feeling that sense of both sides of the sacrum, both sides, or both shoulder blades, I should say, against the wall. And see how you go. You can take your hand down onto your leg. And if you are using the wall, it can feel really different to what you normally do when you're freestanding. So be curious. See if you can get your lower waist, your right waist, to feel as long as the left waist. Elongate both sides of the neck. And of course, you just hold as long as you need to. Good, and then inhale and come up. Great, bring your hands back in front of your heart and we're going to swap sides. So turn the feet the other way, See if you can get your right heel this time back against the skirting board. Good. Finding both sides of the sacrum moving towards the guide of the wall, both shoulder blades. But feel the strength in your legs. Lift the front of the thighs, lift the front of the hips. Lengthen the belly, lift the breastbone, bring the hands in front of your heart. Reach your arms. Good, inhale. Exhale, we're going to reach the left fingertips as far as you can. Keeping the left waist long, the right waist long. Just curious as to whether the body starts to tip forward, whether you feel a little off balance. Take your time. Make your own space. Good. And then reaching your arms to the vertical. So be curious, you know, the wall is fairly level behind you. Just finding where you might feel a little off balance, where you can give a little more to the posture and where you need to be compassionate. Open where you can. Lengthen where you can. Hold for as many breaths as you need. Good. And then inhale and come up. Good. And we'll turn the feet to the front and step in. Feet together, Tadasana. Just finding your alignment. Good. And now we're going to give Ardha Chandrasana a try. So if you take your feet out again about your own leg length. And let me show you what we're going to do so you can decide how you might want to support. If you have just a column, you need it behind your pelvis. So stand where you've got the column supporting you. Okay, I've got more wall here. Okay, I've got the block down there and I might need it, or the seat of a chair. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just bend that right leg and lightly step the left foot in until I'm starting to balance. Okay, so if you feel like you're going to fall over, don't do this posture. Repeat the one we did before, Trikonasana. Okay, and if you have trouble reaching the floor, then a block can be really useful underneath your shoulder. You try and bring your left leg parallel to the floor. And again, we try to have that sense of both sides of the sacrum to the wall, both shoulder blades, but you're looking for where that works for your body. So you don't have to have the block high, wherever it suits your reach. Make sure you keep that sense of ease in both sides of your neck. Space around your heart as you lift your heart towards the ceiling. Only holding for as long as you need to. Good. Feel your standing leg. You're really strongly lifting the inner arch, lifting the kneecap. Good. And then release. Turn your feet to the front and to the second side. So adjust your body so you've got your wall for balance, considering that you're going to land with your hip over your left leg this time. Good. So we're just going to step in until you are confident in the balance on your left leg. And if you feel really nervous about doing the posture, you can just do that first part of the posture, taking the weight. You've got your wall to stabilize you. Otherwise, reach down, take your block, position it where you need to. give yourself some room. Nice, straight, strong standing leg. Make sure you lift that inner arch, lift the kneecap, lift the quadricep. We're rolling the right hip back towards the wall here, just looking for that alignment of your back body. Both shoulder blades. As you lift your heart, open the heart, reach up with your right hand. Take up space. Lengthen through your legs, your spine, your arms. Breathe. Nicely done. And then releasing, moving with ease back to standing. Step your feet into center. Tadasana. Good. Bring your hands together. Step your feet out a little bit wider this time. And we're going to turn the right toes out 90 degrees and bend the right leg. So again, you've got that helpful guide of the wall. Just notice how much the left hip tips forward. And what can you do from the feet up to help to open the front of the pelvis? So we're trying to roll that left hip back. Be as deeply into the bend of the knees your knees allow. Of course, don't hurt your knees, so back off a little bit if there's any pain. But squeeze the pelvic floor, lift the belly, lengthen the lower back, lift the heart, bring the hands in front of the heart and reach your arms. Warrior two. Just in touch, curious with the way the back body reaches to or doesn't quite reach to the wall. Strong legs. Good, and then inhale and come up. Good, and turn the feet to the second side. Good, so we're going to bend the left knee this time, so the toes are parallel to the wall. Good, and just check out how can you roll the right hip a little closer to the wall. So just discover whatever the gap is, that's what it is, but see if there's a little room for opening, for reaching the left knee towards the wall, for lifting the inner arch of the right foot. Bring the hands to the heart, tuck the tailbone forward, squeeze the pelvic floor, lift the belly, reach your arms, looking over your left fingertips. Be as, little rest, as low into the posture as you can go, without that left knee being in front of the ankle. Come out when you need to. Good, and inhale. Come up, turn the feet to the front. Whew. And wiggling in elegantly or elegantly. Tadasana. Let's find that big lift in the front of your legs. Good. Then you don't need the wall anymore. So just bring your blocks back to the front of your mat. Take that out of the way. Come to the front of your mat, feet hip width, arms up, look up. As you exhale, Uttanasana. Good, onto the floor, onto your blocks, and we're going to step the right foot back. Good, left knee is going to be bent, but we're going to lift up into a lunge position. Good. And we're going to take the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. You can have your left hand onto your sacrum or bring the hands into prayer position and use that arm strongly to lift the ribs. Turn to look back over your left shoulder. Lift the left ribs, the right ribs. Good. And bring your hands back down onto the floor so you can step your right foot forward. Uttanasana. Good. And step your left foot back. So from side to side, your feet are about hip width distance, but a nice big stance. So you're getting a big stretch for the back leg. So front leg stays bent, but you keep your knee from going in front of the ankle. Good. Lift the hands to the heart. Lift the front of the left hip here. Lengthen the lower back. Good. Bring the elbow, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. You can just have your right hand onto your sacrum if that feels more stable, or hands in prayer position. Press your hands, lift the ribs, turning the right ribs back, left ribs forward. Looking back over your right shoulder. Keep breathing. Good, and then release. Hands to the floor, stepping forward, Uttanasana. And just hanging forward, just letting your arms relax. You can have your legs bent if you really need to, or straighten them if you can. Lift your kneecaps, lift your quadriceps, lengthen the belly, hollow the belly. Good. And then we're going to sit down from here. So see if you can sit down without using your hands. You don't need your blocks anymore. So come into the middle of your mat and just lean back with your hands holding your knees and your legs parallel. Good. And we're going to press your lower back, or you're going to press your lower back towards the back of the mat, and then inhale and lift your lower back. Let the belly expand with the breath. Good. And then opposite movement. And then you're going to hold lifting your lower back, but squeeze your belly now to your back. Good. And let go with your hands if you can. Okay, you can lean back. Maybe you can lift one leg at a time or both legs. Good. Maybe you can straighten your legs. Good. And then release and lay down. Hug your knees in. Just letting your spine relax onto the floor. Great. And interlock your hands underneath the base of your skull. Your feet are off the floor here. But if this hurts your lower back when you try it, you can do the same thing, but start with your feet on the floor. See if that helps. Okay, so we're going to take the left leg out to straight and lift up the right shoulder blade and the right elbow. But see if you can keep your lower back arch lifting a little away from the floor and squeezing your belly and relaxing your neck at the same time. Inhale, come back to center. Good. And then right leg straight. And lift your left elbow, your left shoulder blade off the floor. Squeeze your belly. Good, and then come back to center. Good, and first side. Keep your neck really relaxed, head resting back into the hands. Keep your lower back arch lifting and squeezing your belly. Keep breathing. One more each side. And last one. Good, and come back to center. Oh, rock a little from side to side. Good. Take your legs straight up, and you can have them a little bit bent if you need to hold them there, or you can have them straight if you like, and put your arms overhead. Good. And as you exhale, you're going to squeeze your belly, squeeze the pelvic floor, and reach up to try and hold on to your toes. Good. Couple more. Try to keep your neck nice and relaxed. Good. Bring your legs into Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet together. Just keep your feet off the floor and release your arms down. Good. And we're going to take the arms out by the sides, about 45 degrees. And then we're going to lift up. I'm going to lift the hands off the floor and reach your left fingertips as far as you can to the left and squeeze the left side of the belly. Good, and come back to center and squeeze your right fingertips as far as you can to the right, and then come back to center. If you need to lay down in between to relax your neck, do that. Otherwise, try and stay lifting. We're going to reach the left side, come back to center, reach the right side. Good, come back to center, left side, center, keep squeezing belly, pelvic floor, good, right side. Come back to center and release. Good. And then we're going to take the legs out straight now. Arms out a little from the sides of your body. Pick up your left heel and sit it on top of your right toes. And then you're going to let your feet start to fall to the right side and let your legs go with the feet. Let your left hip lift with the feet. And you turn back to look over your left shoulder. And you determine how far you want to lift your lower back away from the floor. Keep breathing. Good, and then releasing. And legs out straight again, recenter. Take your right heel onto your left toes. Let your feet fall towards the floor on the left. Let your legs roll. Let your right hip roll off the floor. Go as far as your back wants to go, but see if you can keep your right shoulder blade onto the floor. Look along the spine, the sides of the spine. Where can you be a little more relaxed in this posture? Where can you work more strongly but still keep that sense of ease in your spine? Good, and then back to center. Good, bend your legs in. Take your left thigh over your right thigh and lift your hips, swing them to the left, and you're going to let your legs towards the floor on the right side. If they don't reach all the way, it feels too strong in your back, you can use one of your blocks underneath your knees. So obviously don't hurt your back. We're looking for ease. Right, you can Just let the legs hang heavily there. Try and get your left shoulder back down onto the floor. And you look over your left shoulder, just close your eyes. Give the weight of your body to the floor. And let go. Good. And then gently coming back up to center. Good. Bring your feet together, knees together. Right thigh crosses over the left. Lift your hips and swing them to the right, and the knees go towards the floor on the left. Try to keep the right shoulder blade onto the floor and support if you need to, if there's any discomfort in your knees. Facing over your right shoulder, but you can have your eyes closed. And letting go. And then gently coming back up. Come back to center. Bring the right heel, start with your feet hip width. Right heel onto the left knee, and just let the right knee fall away from you, but keep the hips square, so level to the floor. Good, and then we're going to let the legs fall gently to the left side of the mat. And keep lengthening the left thigh here. Looking over the right shoulder. Good, and then coming up to center. Feet hip width. Left heel onto the right knee. And lengthen the left thigh away from the torso. And let the legs, the feet, fall gently to the right side. Left shoulder blade stays onto the floor, and we keep lengthening the left thigh. Trying to keep the hips square to the floor, to the mat. Good. And then inhale. And coming up to center. Hug your knees into your chest and rock a little from side to side. So if you hold your knees away from you, then you're rocking more across your sacrum. And further into your body, holding the knees closer to your body, you rocking more across the spine. Just find what feels really warm, comforting in your body. Good. And then laying yourself out for Shavasana. You might like to add on the Shavasana video from my channel. Or just hold this for as long as you like. Finding the symmetry of your body. Taking support under your legs if there's any compression in your back. Feeling compassion for your whole body. Feel where the breath travels to. In and out. And take the feeling of the practice with you. Namaste.